What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
And we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, alright? Join the family without further ado. Let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
A few years ago, my friend and I went to Hawaii and we rented a car to get around. Here's me on day one, the car still in the parking lot, looking a little terrified at the prospect of driving. Not because I was tired or because I hate driving. It was because in Australia, you drive on the left side of the road, whereas in the US, you drive on the right. Most countries in the world, about 2/3, drive on the right side, which leaves 1/3 that drives on the left. You might be wondering why people who drive on the left don't just switch over to the right. The thing is, left-hand side traffic was the worldwide norm for a long time. So how can the split now exist? Well, the reason boils down to two main factors. One, the fact that most people are right-handed, and two, the fact that countries were using different forms of transportation at the time formalized road rules began to emerge.
Now, let's be honest with that statement, because I was brushing my teeth this morning, and I had to ask myself, why don't I ever use my left hand to brush my teeth? So I tried. It felt odd. For instance, as if you never use your left hand because you're told that your right hand is more dominant. For instance, them driving on the right side of the road, you're told that this is the dominant side. But what happens if you're versatile?
Right.
I feel like your brain's supposed to allow you to be versatile instead of you telling yourself to make up a makeup of, hey, I'm gonna just be this one way. I don't like that. But I was up in there like, I'm like, get it together, brain. I'm like, I couldn't get it together.
Yes, and I understand what you mean about being versatile. But that's two brushes, okay? Just being a passenger in a car that drives on the opposite side of
Imagine.
us. Every time they're turning, my heart starts racing because I'm like, no, because the traffic is coming this way, and the traffic coming this way.
Right.
It's very different, and it's gonna take a couple times coming to a country that drive on the opposite side as us for me to get used to.
Yeah.
Because I'm always feeling like, oh my God, we're about to wreck.
So it's not one thing to just get your license. I feel like you have to have a driver's course.
Definitely.
It can't just get an international license and say, because I have it, I should be able to get a car, rent one, and go on my way. I think you should be able to have to take a driver's course. So it'd be important.
Back in the Middle Ages, way before cars existed, people mainly travelled around on horseback or by foot. People kept to the left so they could keep their dominant hand closer to the centre of the road. Remember, this was a time when people often carried weapons on them, such as swords, knives, or daggers, while travelling because of bandits and outlaws. Also, people almost always mount horses from the left side, and it's safer to mount from the roadside than in the middle of the road. This left side travelling continued for years across the world until about the time of the French Revolution. There was a big class distinction on the roads of France at the time.
Just mad.
The wealthy would drive their carriages on the left and force poorer people to travel to the right.
What?
No.
By the end of the revolution, the aristocracy began travelling on the right to blend in with the lower classes, and France's roads effectively became right-side travel. So you had France travelling on the right and places like England travelling on the left. Throughout Britain, it was more a matter of custom than widespread regulation until 1835, when Parliament passed a law forcing traffic to keep left. In France, the keep right rule was established more firmly by this guy. As Napoleon conquered countries across Europe, those countries were forced to switch sides. Meanwhile, in the US, one particular wagon was a big driving force for keeping to the right. The Conestoga wagon became popular in the late 1700s as a way to transport heavy goods. These massive wagons could hold thousands of kilograms worth of cargo and needed teams of horses to pull them along. There was no driver's seat, so the driver would usually sit on the rear left horse, so they could still hold a whip in their hand. Because of this, the wagons travelled on the right, so the driver sitting on the left would have more visibility over the rest of the road. In 1792, Pennsylvania officially passed the first keep right law in the US to this turnpike. 12 years later, New York enforced right-hand travel on all public highways, and it slowly spread across the rest of the US. In time, more and more countries shifted to the right. As they found themselves surrounded by converted land neighbours, it was just easier to follow suit. When the US started putting steering wheels on the left, that became extra incentive to switch. Cars initially had the wheel on the right, following horse-drawn buggies. Ford was the first to put the wheel on the left, with the Model T in 1908. Initially, it was just to make disembarking easier, but car manufacturers soon realised it was better and safer for the driver to sit more towards the centre of the road. And
Bro, we have seen so many right steering wheels since we've been here that now when you think about it, does it feel odd to even think of a left steering wheel?
No.
At all, it doesn't? So it's still your norm?
Every time I hop in the car, I'm still weirded out that I'm getting behind the driver on the right.
Yeah.
Because that's where I normally get in. If I was getting in an Airbnb at home, I would get to the right of the driver where I can see the driver.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get directly behind him, but here I'm getting directly behind him. That's kind of, it's still an adjustment. I think if we were to start getting comfortable with driving ourselves,
Like actually getting behind the wheel.
Yeah, maybe I would feel that way, but no, it's still different.
Yeah, well, it's to the point where I'm dreaming about it. I'm starting to see the right hand of the steering wheel as if it's a norm to me now. And I still have yet to drive behind that wheel.
Right.
But when I'm just looking at the road, because I'm paying attention to everything, it's like, it feels that's how it is now. So.
US is such a big car exporting country. This was an extra push for more countries to switch over to the right, so they could use the cars. Obviously, not everyone made the switch. British colonies stayed on the left and still do for the most part. And countries like Japan and Thailand that were never British colonies but had dealings with the British also kept to the left. But most countries switched to the right in the early to mid 20th century. In fact, only 3 places have switched back from right to left in recent times. In Japan, Okinawa was controlled by the US after World War II and made to drive on the right. It switched back to the left on July 30th, 1978 after being returned to Japan 6 years previously. Timor-Leste switched to the left under Indonesian rule in 1975, and Samoa switched over in 2009 so they could import old Australian cars instead of more expensive US cars. The Samoans had a smooth changeover. They got a 2-day national holiday to ease traffic and had a 3-day ban on alcohol to deter accidents. But they had a relatively small population at the time of about 180,000 people. So what would happen in a country with a lot more people and a lot more that could go wrong? Sweden switched from left to right in 1967. With a population of about 7.8 million people at the time, there was a lot to prepare for H-Day. Road markings had to be repainted, bus stops relocated, intersections and one-way streets redesigned, and about 360,000 street signs changed.
Hand signals, your brake pads, your gas pedals, all that stuff is flopped now.
Right.
So you're thinking that this is how it was at one point, but now you're looking at it differently because it's the new law. So
yeah, so just imagine on that day of the switch, right?
Chaotic.
Like, what about the people's cars? So much changed in one day. Just think about that. So, send us a video about that because I really want to dive deeper into that. Like that day where everything changed, I know that there was some accidents.
Man, that's a lot.
I know.
That was a lot of work that had to get done with the signs and all, too.
And how long did they keep their cars? I know some people keep cars as antiques and things, but
yeah.
how long did they keep their car?
Oh, now that's a good question. Did they keep their vehicles that had the opposite steering wheel? You know, they was pushing the traffic to the other side of the road now. Like, can you still work that steering wheel the same way even on the opposite side? Right.
And even at home, there are cars that get imported when people are traveling or moving. They take their cars from their country, and I've seen their car, what is called the driver's seat. What am I saying? Driver person. I don't know what I'm talking about. The driver on the opposite side is us driving, and I'm like, what in the world? And then I'm like, oh, they got their car imported.
Yeah, but they ain't doing the speed limit. They like doing under the speed limit. They really going. They're taking their time.
They have to.
At precisely 5 a.m. on September 3rd, Swedes were directed to switch over to the right. The whole process cost 628 million kroner, the equivalent of more than $400 million today. But the country's road networks and infrastructure are a lot more sophisticated now than they were 50 years ago. Not to mention there are a lot more people and cars. A switch nowadays would be a lot harder and cost a lot more.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's the main reason why we won't see another country switching sides anytime soon. It would be a huge logistical exercise that would cost a lot more than people are willing to spend for something that isn't needed. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. In the end, it only took a day or two for us to be comfortable driving on the other side of the road, and it's probably what travellers will have to keep doing. You may have noticed that most left-side driving countries are actually islands, which helps justify not switching over. For the few that do share borders with right-side driving countries, most of the time it's a non-issue. You'd have to go through customs first, so you go through border security on one side and exit out the other. But for a few countries, they've come up with some inventive solutions.
That simple? Like right across the... Okay. So here's a question. Make sure you guys check our channel out. Do you think it would be difficult to adapt? To change?
No. Nothing is difficult to adapt to. I just think it takes some time. Sometimes it takes people longer than others. I feel like for me, it would take a while. Because I'm looking at the traffic and just the different ways. And yeah, it'll just take a while.
Facts.
All right, y'all. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.